for this opportunity. I am Anand Prakash from Ecozen Solutions, working as post-harvest management specialist in the organization. And today I will be talking about a very interesting fruit called dragon fruit. It is an exotic fruit which has gained a lot of traction in recent years, and how solar cold rooms can leverage this opportunity in transforming India's dragon fruit revolution. So let us talk about what dragon fruit is. So this particular dragon fruit is basically indigenous to countries like Mexico, Central South America, grown very extensively in China, Vietnam, Thailand, etc. In fact, in this graph, you could see that 51% of the entire production in the world comes from Vietnam itself, followed by China and these countries. But of late, it has been gaining traction because of all right reasons. Uh, Specifically because of two reasons. A, it has got a lot of nutraceutical benefits. You could see from this particular nutritional portion that it is a rich source of various vitamins, minerals, fibers, etc. It is also used in various medicinal. It is used as a medicinal plant. And B, it is highly stress tolerant. In fact, it belongs to a cactus family, and it requires very less water, in fact. And some of the states have really tapped this opportunity. States like Gujarat, Maharashtra, and Karnataka are growing in very good levels as of now. In fact, Gujarat and Karnataka are the major players, followed by other states, wherein Maharashtra is also picking it up. And Andhra Pradesh and Telangana are two such states, apart from Tamil Nadu, West Bengal, etc., which again are picking it up. So if you see the graph in terms of area under cultivation, from the last 3 to 4 years, there has been a very rapid hockey stick growth. You could see that in incoming years, we could expect that the dragon fruit cultivation in coming days would again increase a lot, given the fact that it has very high nutritional value. In fact, the rates which the farmer gets are also very good. In fact, compared to the traditional agriculture which a farmer does in India, these kind of exotic cultivation can actually help in increasing the benefit of the farmers. But that being said, there's an inherent problem to the entire value chain. If we see dragon fruit supply chain, typically it starts from the farmer, wherein it goes to a small trader, then it goes to either to a wholesaler and then to a retailer and the customer. But then as of now, there are very limited processing opportunities and export opportunities. Most of them, in fact, 5, 10 years down the line, majority of them were imported from Vietnam, Thailand, and then it comes to major cities and then it is distributed. Now, this is a typical fragmented supply chain which happens in India, but the crux of the problem is during the off season. So typically the basic production season in India starts somewhere from June, July, and then ends in November, December. So you could see that specifically in June, July, when the import is very less because of the inherent Indian production. So in these cases, that is June, July, August, September, October, November, the actual Indian production starts. But then the problem is once a harvest is done at a time, all the harvest has to be done in a limited time period and the price falls during that period. But now this takes around again 20-25 days to stabilize, and again a new cycle starts, and this cycle is repeated. So at the time when the entire harvest takes place, say suppose a farmer is able to the actual price is around 150 rupees per kg, that will fall around 70 to 80 rupees per kg. And that is why the farmer who has to get its optimal value, he's not able to get because there is a glut supply of dragon fruit in the market. And since this dragon fruit is highly perishable in nature, the life will be around 5 to 7 days on ambient and limited supply of cold chain infrastructure. The actual benefit, which has to be passed on to the farmer is not able to tap that. Now, how to solve that problem? There could obviously be a good storage practice which should be done at the farm gate and obviously at the market gate so that strategic selling is done. So with installation of these types of cold rooms, which are solar cold rooms, either at the market gate and market gate, such price crashes could be avoided. And obviously strategic selling for better price realization could be done. And in a way, as I told, that the shelf life would be extended up to around 3 weeks or so. Uh, at a farm gate, basically, there is another opportunity wherein small farmers, which are typically not have very big land, in fact, 1 acre or less than that, they could actually help in aggregation, wherein if sufficient quantity is there, they would be able to dispatch after temporary storage. In fact, farmer cooperatives could come together. That is one advantage which we would have. So this is one of our solar cold room installed right at the farm gate in Maharashtra itself. At the market gate itself, the retailer and the wholesaler could be able to be benefited because they would be able to cater to the right market when the demand is high. And obviously, because of the right quality, he would be able to command the premium price. So that is one such opportunity which these solar cold rooms could bring in an Indian dragon fruit revolution. As of now, our product basically runs on both solar and electric mode. This is a standard product which we offer. Temperature ranges between 4 to 5 degree. It is able to cater to ideal humidity, which is around 65 to 95%. We have a patented technology around battery backup, which is thermal energy storage backup, through which we would be able to get around 30 hours of backup. The range is around 10 to 2 to 10 metric ton. In fact, we are able to cater to higher demands as well, around 30 metric ton, 50 metric ton, and so on and so forth as well. Obviously, we can customize based on need. And obviously, these smaller sizes are very portable. It can be taken out from one farm to another farm based on needs. And since this is advanced technology, it has all the advanced learnings. We have remote sensing control, predictive analytics, and things like that. Now, that being said, how does these cold storage help in extension of cold room is something which we need to really understand as we move forward. Now, the case in point obviously is dragon fruit, but this holds true for any such other commodity as well. For example, in any cold room, obviously the cold room there would be a reduction in the temperature. Now that inherently will lead to the decrease in respiration level of the commodity. Now, like we are respiring commodities, we are respiring human beings. These plants also are respiring commodities. The moment there is a reduction in temperature, the respiration rate also reduces. And when the respiration rate reduces, the metabolic activity also reduces. Now, once the metabolic activity reduces, the shelf life increases. And this is a basic thesis behind extension of shelf life of any commodity. Case in point is dragon fruit in cold room. And this is a particular respiration rate at two given temperatures for dragon fruit. So obviously, when the respiration and the transpiration rate is low, the commodity will able to maintain excellent fruit quality, wherein the texture would be of good quality, flavor losses will be very less, and so on. If the cold room is not there, the respiration and the transpiration rate will be very high. Because of the moisture loss, the commodity will wilt, there will be loss in flavor, etc., etc. But this is the basic science behind how the shelf life extension of dragon fruit will happen in the cold room. But that being said, of late we have been conducting various field and market surveys, and we have found a negative connotation with respect to cold room and dragon fruit. Basically, because of half knowledge. In fact, we have heard that if we keep dragon fruit in cold room, the cold room quality will deteriorate. When we dig deep, we found out that people have not been carrying out standard recommendations or standard processes which has to be followed. Now that has various critical set points. People keep the commodity in a cold room which is meant for, say, grapes, where the temperature is way below what the recommendation temperature of dragon fruit is there. Now, because of those conditions, the dragon fruit spoils in a way. Chilling injury happens in those commodity in dragon fruit, and thereafter a negative connotation spreads in the market. Now, to address these, we have been doing very strategic step-by-step awareness campaigns, etc. But to understand that what are the critical set points, we could divide them into three categories. One being pre-harvest management. There are few things which should be taken care of. B is harvesting practices, and C is post-harvest management practices. So in terms of pre-harvest management practices, there are few things which needs to be taken care of. That is in terms of cultivar, irrigation, fertigation, and intercultural operations. In terms of harvesting, again, there are few things which should be taken care in terms of the right maturity, harvesting method, and some disorders which should be avoided. And in terms of after harvest, again, there are few management practices which should be taken care in terms of right handling, pre-cooling, storage conditions, and also post-harvest handling. Now, once this entire set of actions are taken care of, then only a successful storage of dragon fruit, and for that matter, any other commodity, would be successful in cold storage. Here we would be discussing each of these parameters in detail. I'll come first with the pre-harvest management part. So in terms of cultivar, in India, typically various cultivars are there, various varieties have been grown. So if you see, there are three different by and large varieties. One variety is wherein the peel color of the dragon fruit is red, the pulp color is white. The second one is where both peel and pulp color are white. And the last one is where the peel color is yellow and the inside color is white. What we have seen of late is the preferred variety is where a red color is of both the peel and pulp, because the bricks content is high in this. It is more sugar in nature. It has good content of sugar in it, and that is why people like it. As far as the shelf life of these in the cold room goes, obviously it will vary from variety to variety. Now, these are some indicative findings which we have got either from literature or from some of the progressive farmers. But then we are in-house doing our own validation. The dragon fruit season has just begun. We are waiting to get the right quality of dragon fruit, and we'll be validating these trials in-house. And thereafter, we will be able to conclude that which Indian cultivar grown in Indian conditions and Indian environment, etc., how much life would be there for each and every cultivar. That is number one, that is in terms of cultivar. Second, in terms of irrigation, as I told before, these particular crops are typically of cactus family. They don't require a lot of water, especially when there is a season after the harvesting, after November, December to somewhere around May, June, when the summer is there. Typically, okay, watering should be there. In fact, if it is overlong or if it is overwater, there are chances that there would be premature fruit drop, premature flower and fruit drop, and it would also result in fruit splitting and rot development. So this is one such example where you could see that the fruit had split. And obviously, before the harvest, it is recommended that you should not do any irrigation at least 1 to 2 days before. This is in terms of irrigation. Also, in terms of fertigation, uh, it should is very ideal that a balance of nutrient is given to the plant. We should obviously avoid too much of nitrogen, of potassium or calcium. A very judicious use of fertilizer and manure should be there, because the crop in a way assimilates even smallest quantity of nutrient. And there are few ideal sets of intercultural operations. In fact, say suppose if the sun is very high, artificial natural shading should be there. A very routine, regular pruning, etc., fungicide treatment, pre-treatment parameters, etc., should be taken care of, so that the actual harvest which takes place is of good quality. So this is all about the basic parameters which should be taken care in terms of the pre-harvest management part. I'll be telling you about how best we should do the harvesting so that a proper shelf life we could get it. Now, in terms of these are obviously some of the diseases which will occur in the field if proper pre-harvest management practices are not taken care of. Soft rot, anthracnose, etc. Some of them. For example, anthracnose is a disease caused by Colitotrichum gliospirides, and this particular anthracnose is latent in the infection. So, if proper pre-harvest management is not taken care of, the fruit will be harvested, and once it is stored in the cold room, thereafter the disease would manifest. So, it's very essential that proper pre-harvest management is taken care of, so that once the commodity is stored in the cold room, proper shelf life we would be able to get. Coming in terms of harvesting, proper maturity should be maintained at the time of harvesting. If it is too early to ripe, if it is Under mature, obviously will not be able to get the right life, the quality will not be good. And again, if it is too mature, the life will again be limited. So there are some literatures which say that after flowering, it should be around 32 days. There are some harvest maturity parameters as well. For example, the Brix and acidity should be around 40 to 1 ratio, 40 to 1 ratio. So a correct harvest maturity should be maintained. And likewise, the method of harvesting is also very essential. For example, if we just twist it manually, there are chances that the damage of skin will happen. And once this damage of skin happens, this ultimately will result in fungal development during the course of action. Likewise, how it is harvested, we should use proper knives, uh, which would be very nicely be able to cut the plant, the stalk of it, and a little portion of stock obviously should be left so that the fruit is of good shape and no mechanical damage once the fruit is harvested. There are lot of post-harvest diseases which does occur, which results in fruit decay, uh, also because of various microbial infestations as well. At least whichever fruits are to be harvested for meant for storage purposes, we should make sure that it is free of any decay or mechanical injury. In fact, during storage as well, and I'll come to chilling injury during the next part of my talk, that how chilling injury occurs. But at least if there is any mechanical damage or any fruit decay, it is best not to store it in the cold room, because ideally it will also spoil. It will spoil, and it will also spoil the other fruits as well. Now, once the fruit is harvested, there has to be the last part where proper handling has to be there. After harvesting of the fruits, it should be kept in shade immediately after harvesting. And a proper sorting and grading should be there, wherein any such fruit which is diseased or insect infected or is cracked or is damaged should definitely be rejected. And after sorting, it should be nicely graded so that the farmer is able to command the premium out of it. So it should be graded based on the color, based on the weight, etc. So in Indian market, we have seen that somewhere around 300, 350, 400 kgs are good quality. Gram of fruit is of good quality, categorized at A. Obviously, which are very small, of 200 grams are of C category, and 200 to 400 gram are of medium. And in fact, if it is of good quality, that could also has a export potential. And if it is not of very good quality and not meant for premium pricing, it could also be sent for processing and value addition. So anything which is of good quality should only be taken to the cold storage for storage purposes. And as pre-cooling is very important, pre-cooling is nothing but the removal of field heat after the harvesting. So as far as possible, bring the temperature to optimum temperature after harvest. Ideally, it should be placed inside a plastic crate, and obviously, depending on the recommendation, it could be done in the fiberboard boxes or carton as well, as per the market demand. But then the pre-cooling has to be done, wherein it has to be quickly brought to its ideal storage temperature. Um, Okay, yeah, after pre-cooling, the main set comes where there are some standard practices which should be done in terms of storage conditions. Temperature, we recommend 7 to 10 degrees. We are in-house doing some trials. Based on literature, the people have tried a bit of more as well, bit of less as well. But anything which is below 5 degree will cause chilling injury to the commodity. So temperature is very, very essential. Second, in terms of relative humidity as well, since majority of this is nothing but water, the dragon fruit has a good amount of moisture in it. So maintaining a relative humidity inside the cold room is also very essential, as it would help in maintaining the freshness and prevent settling. For example, if you have to take a connotation from some other commodity, if you take capsicum, for example, if you don't keep it in cold room, if you keep it in the fridge as well, if proper humidity is not maintained, it will shrivel. The water will be removed. Likewise, same goes for dragon fruit as well, wherein if good amount of humidity is not maintained, the commodity will start shriveling. And obviously, the storage duration is very essential. People keep it in cold room for 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and tell that the cold room is not very suitable. So an ideal storage condition should be there, wherein the storage duration of up to 3 weeks should be there. Obviously, depending on variety and other sets, this could be a little extended as well. But then the basic thing is that we should be very particular about the temperature, humidity, and at what duration we want to store for. And then there are a few standard practices which has to be done in any cold room. That is, good amount of airflow, which is there, should be maintained. It should be there in the ventilated crates, because the airflow should be very proper. If there's no airflow, obviously heat pockets would be there, and if it is very airtight, again it will lead to condensation and mold, etc. So these parameters are very much essential when we are keeping any of such commodities in the cold room. In fact, in terms of temperature, people keep sometimes below 5 degrees and chilling injury happens. So chilling injury is nothing wherein any such commodity which is kept below the cold room recommended cold room temperature. So in a cell, typically it has cell wall and then plasma membrane, etc. So when the moisture level freezes, obviously it will result in chilling injury, wherein as a side effect of it, you would see bruising and a browning and the skin going bad. All those are typical symptoms of chilling injury, which I had previously showed in one of the photographs in my previous slides. So in nutshell, these are the parameters which should be very strictly followed so that we are able to get the required life of dragon fruit in the cold room. This is a study which was carried out by an ICR organization. In fact, a good amount of material has been taken from their brochures as well. So in this study, they had in fact studied the effect of different soil conditions and obviously different temperature conditions on the quality of the dragon fruit. And if you could see that if it is 16 and at room temperature, after 16 days, obviously these dragon fruits have gone bad. So that was all about the storage practice. But then again, there's also something which is very important in terms of post-harvest handling. Once the commodity is taken out from the cold room, it is very important that we directly don't keep it out in the sun, because it will lead to condensation. And then once it will lead to condensation, the water would be there, and that water will again lead to microbial attack, and then that microbial attack will lead to it could be in the form of fungus development, and again the shelf life will be very much reduced. So a step by step temperature increase should be there, wherein if say suppose the temperature is around 10 degrees, it should be gradually increased to 15 degree, then around 20 degree, then around 25 degrees, so that the condensation does not happen on the fruit per se. And once the condensation does not happen, obviously the life would be good thereafter. And there are few other parameters which also should be taken into account, that after the harvesting, it should be stored in a very good way. It should be handled with care so that no bruises occur. Regular inspection, etc., should be there. Again, as I told, that direct sunlight and avoid too much stacking so that the mechanical damage does not happen in the fruit, and it is very ready to be shipped outside the cold room. So maintaining these post-harvest handling measures will result in a good amount of life. And there are four critical parameters which we have identified, which actually leads to spoilage of dragon fruit after we take out in the cold room. One, obviously, as I told about the condensation, wherein improper handling practices could lead to condensation. If the temperature is not maintained well, and it is well maintained below the recommended temperature, as I explained, it could result in chilling injury. Again, as I told, that in terms of humidity, if it is not maintained well, it will result in shriveling. And in the harvesting slide, I was telling, if proper pre-harvest practices are not maintained, there are chances of latent infection, and that in a way will manifest. So taking care of each and every step by step process will only result in a shelf life, successful shelf life of dragon fruit in a cold storage. In fact, this is one such case study which was there in last year by one of our a very progressive farmer called Tereshil More. He's there in his farm is there in Bhigwan, which is a district in Ahmednagar, nearby Pune. It is in Maharashtra itself. So this particular farmer actually had stored the cold room when the prices were 60 rupees, and with the prices actually crashed it out. And once it came back to 90 rupees. Now this obviously goes up as well, around 100 to 150 rupees per kg. And he was able to command good price, in fact 1.5x. And since he had filled around 10 tons of material in our cold storage, he was able to make a profit of 3 lakh rupees in a matter of just 21 days, just because he was able to hold the right commodity, the dragon fruit, at the right period of time with right practices, etc. In fact, in our cold room, you would be able to do a lot of predictive analytics, remote monitoring as well. Through the mobile application, we can set the commodity. We need not be very much worried about what is the required temperature, humidity. We should be very cognizant about the commodity which we are selecting, and after that, we can obviously monitor it through our remote monitoring application and our in-house AI application, wherein we would be able to see that how much is the temperature and how much is the humidity which is maintained throughout the cycle. In fact, how much is the solar energy consumption, how much is the grid energy compression. All those things can be very easily be monitored in our unit, and which is what this particular farmer took care of. So our idea is that, to summarize, that if proper, we know for the fact that dragon fruit market is picking up it in India, and we know for the fact that there are few loopholes and challenges in Indian current system. So plugging it solar cold room in the ecosystem so that the farmers can leverage their benefit is something which we are aiming at, is our vision. So he is a particular farmer who is a very progressive farmer, has done lot of trials. In this particular trial, he has been trying some kind of map-based intervention as well, modified atmosphere packaging intervention. And our executives are in continuous touch with them. We learn from them, and we also do our R&D trials. So the idea is that we can scale this dragon fruit ecosystem, promote our the sustainable technology. We do collaborate with various government and industries and FPOs, etc. And we have taken ownership so that we are able to educate to the right stakeholders. In fact, we do conduct a lot of workshops. We have started something called experience center workshops, wherein do in-house experiments, learn from the farmers, learn from various scientists who are in India, from abroad, and then disseminate that knowledge right to the ground, to the farmers, so that they also get the right kind of education so that they are benefited. Some of such examples are herein, wherein last very week we conducted one such workshop in Mohol. So this is again in Maharashtra, a major solar production belt, wherein we called various progressive farmers, our own users, some of the scientists, some of the academicians, who shared their knowledge on what are the best practices of storage of dragon fruit. So right there, giving them knowledge in the field. This is one shop workshop we had. This is a very recent one. In fact, 2 days before, we had one such event in Hyderabad, wherein there was a farmer gathering, and again we called various stakeholders, right from scientists to progressive farmers, etc., influencers, who tell them about the various practical challenges which they face. And since you could see that we have a gathering where it is very open, people share their knowledge base, people share their successes, people share their failures. So in a collaborative way, we are trying to make an ecosystem where each and every stakeholder is benefited. Because right now, what we have understood is the technology is there, and people are not able to tap that technology because of not having proper knowledge of the technology. So we are taking some of our efforts in disseminating such knowledge, creating an ecosystem. Equally, government is taking effort, wherein some of you might be aware that very recently MNRE has released the guidelines, which was not before, for the solar cold storage. In fact, government has taken steps in giving subsidies for this particular cold chain. MIDH has done so. There are few special funds called agri infra funds for such schemes, wherein these farmers could be benefit. And as of now, we have more than 1,400 solar cold room installed national wide. In fact, we have a majority of them placed in India. In fact, we have also presence in Africa, Southeast Asia, etc. So some of the key takeaways from the entire presentation is we know that dragon fruit is obviously a very high value crop, very well known for its exotic nature, good for medicinal purposes, and it is taking a rapid rise in India. But then the problem is it is very delicate, very perishable, has a very high post-harvest losses. When the glut condition comes, the prices crashes and the farmer is not able to tap the actual benefit. So through intervention of these farm gate and market gate solar cool rooms, equally the farmer and the market gate retailer will be able to benefit, where they will be able to stabilize the prices for only provided we follow a strict protocol and recommendations which I told. And doing that, obviously, there will be a very enhanced higher profits to the income, and obviously the farmer and other private players are taking steps and strides in creating and organizing various in creating this ecosystem, and hopefully this will obviously be driven by in a much better way in near future. So that is it from my side. If there are any queries, we'll be feel free to answer. This is my personal email ID, and this is the toll-free number if there is any query regarding any such technology. So Ecozen does not only provide EcoFrost, which is a solar cold room. We have a range of other product as well. In fact, one of the major product is something called solar pumping solution, wherein we provide everything right from the controller to the entire packet of that. We have another product called solar AC. We have solar atta chakki, and we also have smart hybrid controllers. We have Omni, one of the products. So we have a range of products in sustainable agri-tech technology through which we are impacting various people. So if there are any such queries related to any of such technologies or very specific to dragon fruit or cold room, we'll be happy to answer. Thank you. Over to you, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Anand, for a very detailed presentation. So I will now quickly take up some questions. A few questions you must have already answered. Still, I will read out.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So, how do solar cold rooms benefit dragon fruit farmers post-harvest?
Okay. So as I told in my presentation, basically in the dragon fruit supply chain, after the harvesting, say suppose in the period of June, July, when the harvest happens, because of ample production at a time, the prices crashes. So say suppose the price is around 100 or 150 rupees. Because of overproduction, the price will crash and it will come to around half of that. Since these solar cold rooms can be installed at the farm gate, because of that, the prices would stabilize. They will be able to manage the price, and there after stabilizing, the farmers would be able to benefit that. And obviously, in terms of per se post harvest, obviously proper precautions has to be there, which I elaborated in detail. So thereafter, if all such post harvest precautions are taken care of, obviously farmer will be able to command a good price and would be benefited.
Okay. What is the ideal temperature and humidity for storing dragon fruit?
Right. So as I told, it ranges from 7 to 10 degrees and humidity is around 90%. It does varies from variety to variety. As of now, Indian variety in detail experimentations are not there. Some of the experiments have been done by some of the institutes outside. We are in process of doing some trials, but basis our past experience and some of the inputs which we have received from our users and the literature as such, 7 to 10 degrees is something which we recommend.
Okay. How long can dragon fruits be stored in solar cold rooms without quality loss?
Right. So again, as I told that we tell around 3 weeks, 21 days time. People have tried to extend it a bit further as well. Some have told 4 weeks, but being on a safer side, 3 weeks around 21 days is something which we say can definitely, if all the ideal practices are maintained, 3 weeks definitely solar cold room can the shelf life of the dragon fruit can be increased to 3 weeks.
One second. Yeah. Okay. And what is the cost and maintenance of a solar cold room for small farmers?
Okay. So obviously cost will depend on each and every specifications. The cost depends on if it is it is meant for a smaller farmer or it is meant for a larger farmer. As I told that the sizes ranges from 2 to 10 to other categories as well. Considering Indian condition, if you say around 10 metric ton or say, the cost again will depend on the matrices like do you need backup, do you need at what what do you call the range, as in how much metric ton you want. So it will range from somewhere around 8 lakhs to maybe 15 lakhs or so. So if there is any specifics which anyone is interested, so he could reach out to us. I have given my email ID. So we could discuss 1:1, but 8 to 15 lakhs or on a little higher side or on a lower side is something which we can, on a broad range, we could tell now.
Okay. And are there are there any government schemes or subsidies available for solar cold storage?
Yeah, so there is an MIDH scheme which does offers the subsidy. And again, there are two modes, one with the pack houses and one without pack houses, each ranging from 35 to 50% and things like that. There are few schemes called Agri Infra Funds as well. So, which is specifically meant for post-harvest and such schemes. So definitely farmer can tap that opportunities.
Okay. And can solar cold rooms be used for other fruits and vegetables too?
Yeah. It can definitely be used, provided we are able to maintain the right set of temperatures. For example, if you want to store tomatoes, you have to maintain 13 degrees centigrade. If you want to maintain, say, suppose, uh, maybe some other commodity, maybe okra, so it will be around 10 degrees. So again, each commodity has its own specific sets of temperature durability requirements, and you could store that commodity inside a cold room.
Okay. And how does solar cold storage help reduce post-harvest losses?
I think I answered that was the first question you should told, ma'am.
Mm, okay, it's
Or, or
about
or do you want me to answer?
benefit. It was about benefit. First question was about benefit. How do solar cold rooms benefit dragon fruit farmers
Okay,
post-harvest? This is about the losses.
the losses.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think both are correlated in a way. The
Mm,
moment you would be able to mitigate the losses, that would only curtail to the increase in benefit. Uh,
right.
right. So we have seen that the losses up to the tune of 30 to 40% or even more, if if farmers are able to stock that in a good good quality in the cold room, that much amount of losses a farmer would able to mitigate that. The main crux is that we are able to stabilize the price because we are able to store the commodity at the right period of time at the right marketplace, etc.
Mm, okay. And what capacity of solar cold room is suitable for 1 acre dragon fruit farm?
Uh, Somewhere around 10 metric ton would definitely 5 to 10 metric ton would do.
Okay. Okay. And what is the ROI or payback period for investing in a solar cold room?
So typically you would be, since as I told you in one of the examples, even in 15 days, the farmer was able to command 3 lakh rupees, and the cycle repeats. So within a year or two, he would be definitely be able to pay back the investment which he's able to do. Obviously, it will depend on case by case if how much quantity is keeping, how big is it. So a range maximum of 3 would be there, but we believe that even at a lesser time frame, he would be able to get the payback.
Okay. And this is the last question. Can
Yeah,
solar cold rooms support farm to market linkages more efficiently?
farm to market linkages.
Yeah.
So typically, we have to develop in-house entire supply chain, especially now in the market gate. Obviously, there's a continuous supply or there's a continuous demand, and the farm gate it is not there. So there is an imbalance. So in a way, if there is a farm gate installation of solar cold room, people will be able to hold that commodity for a good period of time. And that, in a way, if there are proper channels, maybe if there are refrigerated truck, even if there are no refrigerated trucks, if proper SOPs are followed for a short period of time, the entire value chain will be created. Obviously, in India, the market is not that robust. In developed economies, especially in Europe, US, etc., the cold chain infrastructure is very good. But then, if it is coming from countries like Vietnam, China, it obviously is coming from the cold chain, and it is the entire cold chain is developed and very much there. So in India as well, uh, if we are able to develop that robustness, obviously a very good infrastructure would support in a very good marketplace and development of ecosystem. But without reefer trucks as well, if there's a proper price point at which we are able to store it and then take it out at a very good in a very good way, the SOPs which I recommended, then also proper that would help in very good supply chain, etc.
Okay, Mr. Anand. So I think, okay, I don't see any more questions. So now we have come to end of question round. On behalf of agricultureinformation.com, we like to thank you for the detailed presentation, answering all the questions in depth. And I also like to thank my editorial team for sharing the questions. So we'll be ending this meeting now.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
most welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.